Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host as always, Kyle McLemore. And I know you saw it right there when I touched the bar of the mic. So the goal of the episode is no touch. The goal of the episode is hands-free. Because if there's one thing I've noticed, it's that all the time, just like constantly, little adjustments, which picks up the audio each and every time. So one last little adjustment here, and we'll try to be hands-free. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for stopping by. And before we get any further along in the pod, be sure to hit the old like and subscribe button, as it's much appreciated, and it definitely helps the show stay alive. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, it's been a while. Oh, it's been a minute since we've done a workout pod. But you know, that doesn't mean I haven't been working out the whole time. Oh yeah, that's right. You just wait until these winter months are over. Oh, what's this? What's this, you're asking? Why, it's just my vitamins. Vitamins. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've done a workout pod, but like I said, we don't stop working out just because we're not showing it on the pod. But you just wait. You just wait until these winter months are done, because your boy is going to be shredded. I think I'm just going to start taking a bunch of steroids. Imagine if it goes from this episode to the next one and I'm just like as big as The Rock. I just sit down like, hey, what's up? Let's talk about lifting. Let's talk about lifting and protein shakes. But the workout continues straight from the workout into the studio, straight from the fire into the frying pan. Thank you so much for stopping by. How was your guys' Halloween now that the spooky month is gone and come and gone, and now it's on to turkey season? It's all about the turkey. Or did you already skip the turkey? Are you one of those that as soon as the clock strikes midnight on the 31st, as soon as it hits midnight and it's now November, Christmas decorations are coming to you. Some people get right on it. Some people, like my sister, for example, gets on it like instantly. Boom, October's over, and here comes Santa Claus. Turkey what? Turkey who? The Mayflower, huh? Thanksgiving what? Because it's all about the big fat man in the red suit. That's right, Christmas is coming to town. But before we leave Halloween in the dust, you guys got any Halloween leftovers that you want to talk about? Do you guys have any leftover candy? How was your trick-or-treating season? How was your trick-or-treators? I had a pretty good amount of trick-or-treaters come by. It's always like a hit-or-miss kind of thing. Never really know what to expect. Always afraid of buying too much candy and having a bunch left over, or not buying enough and having to, like, run out of candy, like, early in the night, which it's hard to gauge, too, because it's like, you know, the trick-or-treaters start coming, and it's like you're sprinkling the candy. 3 or 4 for that kid. 5 or 6 for that kid, 2 or 3 for that kid. You're just like all over the place. And then as the candy starts going down, you're like, oh, wait a minute. It's only like 7 o'clock. I still got like potentially another hour or two. My candy's dwindling. So then you start to reel it back. Start sprinkling 1 or 2. Start rationing out the candy. You got to weigh it as the night goes. But ended up measuring it out pretty good. Ended up with only a tiny bit left at the end of the night. As a matter of fact, I was like just about to call it quits. It starts like dwindling down, starts getting quieter and quieter, less and less people coming by. My candy's getting lower and lower, and I'm like, all right, it's approaching like 9 o'clock. I got work in the morning. I'm getting tired. Less trick-or-treaters. This is probably it. Start wrapping it up. Start turning off the lights, closing things up. One last trick-or-treater starts walking up, and I'm just like, hey, you hit the Halloween jackpot, sucker. To this little kid. And I was like, dude, I was just about to close it up, so you just won the jackpot, dude. And I just like scooped a huge handful and this mom was like, got to back it to him, just like, here, get this candy out of here. Because I don't want it. I do not. We just talked about working out. We just talked about getting in that summer body. How am I going to do that with all this leftover trick-or-treating candy? That's why I try to get rid of it when I can. I hate having the leftovers because it's like, I'm going to eat it. I have no choice but to consume the sweet, sweet candy. So I'd rather throw it at some kids rather than have it left over. But finally all done with Halloween, packing up the decorations. How was your day? You guys see any good scary movies? I doubt it because they don't exist. They don't seem to exist this year, dude. There is no horror in the theaters. Well, I take that back because honestly, The Nun 2 is looking slightly promising, which is saying a lot because number 1 is so bad, dude. Number 1, like when number 2 came out in theaters, I was planning to go and see it in theaters, but I had never seen 1. So I was like, all right, they got it on mats. I'll mats it up. See what this Nun is all about. And it's bad, dude. It's a bad movie. It's so bad. The story is bafflingly insane. And then it's also not even scary. There's like not that much horror or scary stuff going on. And if anything, the Nun is in the movie for like, I bet you if you calculated all of her appearances throughout the first movie, it's like 4.3 seconds of the Nun throughout the entire movie. Not in it a bunch, and it doesn't make sense. Like, it's weird. That's another thing too. Along with touching the mic, no more touching the mic. Also, working on self-improvement for the pod. No more sniffly nose. So we did our one last little sniff there, and I noticed on my last episode, sniffing a lot. I think it's because I did the last episode a wee bit early in the morning, and it was kind of chilly, and I think I had just exercised as well. So I had like cold air, cold nose, cold runny nose action. That's sniffles, which is always fun to listen to, just all these sniffing noises for the ASMR audience. Vitamins. What was I saying? Oh, yes, The Nun. So, Nun 2 comes out, and I'm like, oh, never mind, dude. Never mind. I'm good. Nun 1 is so bad that it completely turned me off of number 2. I was like, dude, this is so bad of a movie, so not scary, so insane, so incomprehensible, that I have lost all interest in seeing The Deuce. And that's how it went. And I skipped it. And I didn't see it. And I didn't regret it. Until people did start seeing it. And people started saying that it was an insane improvement on number 1. To which I say, hey, that's not exactly a difficult bar to raise. That's not exactly the most difficult task, which is raising the bar from Nun 1. All you have to do is include more Nun. There's your main problem. But whatever, Nun 2 is now maxing it up, so I'm like, right. Spooky season coming to an end, so might as well squeeze in every last drop of horror before it's just, ring ding ding bring ding ding. I still have Thanksgiving to look forward to. Not the holiday, the horror film. The more I kind of see Thanksgiving stuff, the more I see the trailer, the more I get the vibe on it, the more I'm kind of interested. I know last time we talked a lot about It's a Wonderful Knife, It's a wonderful knife, That's a bad movie. But Thanksgiving is making me kind of hopeful because I feel like Thanksgiving is like, it's a wonderful knife if it worked, if they like did it good. But keep getting distracted from The Nun. Nun 2, definitely promising. I only watched a little bit. I was just like kind of not really paying attention just because the first one was so bad that like I'm on my phone. And then I start to like notice like, oh, wait a minute. What do we got here? This is like a little bit better. So did a pause. I'm going to return, give it a good watch, see what kind of improvements they've made. Because like it is a good character. Is that what you would call it? A good icon, a good scary symbol, the nun. It is a great look. It looks terrifying. That was definitely the highlight of whatever movie that she originally came from, Conjuring or Insidious. I can't remember because to me they're sort of the same. They have like that same guy, so it blurs it together, and it's like kind of the same movie, paranormal, scary demon ghost. So it really blurs in my mind, but whichever one she's from, it was definitely the highlight of that movie that she was in. The Nun highlights of The Conjuring or Insidious, whichever one, were bangers, dude. I remember seeing it in theaters and being blown away at how good that was. So good, obviously, for 2 movies here, 1 and 2. Even though the one is so bad, still has enough juice to squeeze out a second. Oh, and then speaking of spooky sequels, did you hear the big news in Hollywood and the big news in Hollyweird? 1 year from today, or a year from like 3 days ago. Basically, next Halloween, we can look forward to Terrifier 3. Which, here we go, right? So they're coming out with 3, so there has to be something to it, right? If you're on number 3, there has to be like something to it, right? There has to be a reason that people are going to see this. It's so popular that you're pumping out number 3. So now it's like, okay, I have no choice but to take notice of this movie, you know? So the Terrifier, the Mime. I wish I was better at mime stuff. I will say that. Look, there is... Okay, so I've only seen a little bit of Terrifier 1. I'm gonna... I don't even like... I don't even like talking about it because it's like, dude, I feel like you're assigning me like homework. It has that vibe of like, I do not... This is gonna be work. This is not gonna be fun. This is gonna be a chore is what this is gonna be. Because already, like, there's a reason that they're coming out with number 3 and I still haven't seen 1 or 2. There's a reason, right? And that reason is it does not look appealing, dude. It does not, I don't know. Maybe it's like a personal thing. I don't know what it is about it that I'm just like not into. I'm not into, but why? But why am I not into? I'm not into the mime guy. I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know. It just doesn't vibe with me. Like, it just doesn't come across as like scary. I don't know. I can't exactly put my finger on why I don't find it appealing. But so I only watched a little bit of the first one, and so there are things, right? There are things where I'm like begrudgingly like, okay, all right, I'll applaud you on your use of practical effects. Yes, very good, yes. Begrudgingly, yes, all right? There are... Number 1 has a vibe, dude. Number 1 is very, like, low budge. Number 1 is, like, you can tell this is, like, their first big shot at a movie. It has a vibe of low budge. But that's not to say a bad thing. Like, even though it is clearly low budge, like, straight out of film school kind of vibe, they do a really great job of all these practical effects. Again, I've only seen like the first half hour, but there is good stuff in it. Good makeup use, good effects of like, just special effects, practical effects to make like the dude's head, it's like a jack-o'-lantern or whatever, getting stabbed in the leg. I think there was like even some like, crushing of the eyeballs or whatever. It looks good. It looks good. So I'm sitting there like, okay. All right, I don't want to like this movie. I'm begrudgingly watching it, but it's like, okay. I will admit, your practical effects are impressive, especially for this low budge. So in that aspect, I do like it. I do like it being, practical. It's cool. But I don't know, dude. It's like there doesn't really seem to be a story or like a... I mean, that kind of falls under the category of it being like the first thing, right? Out of film school, the first low budge movie isn't going to make the most sense. The very, very first Evil Dead, it's kind of all over the place, very fresh out of film school, kind of just getting your first attempt. Which makes me intrigued for Terrifier 2. The terrifying Terrifier 2, more terrified. Keep on terrifying. The Terrifier strikes back. That's why I'm kind of interested in number 2, because it's like if number 1 was like so low budge and kind of a starter, then I think of it kind of like as Evil Dead 1, where it's like low budge, kind of a starter. Evil Dead 2 is like a mix of it's like a remake of 1 plus a sequel together. So it's like, all right, I know number 1 was kind of whack. It was my first try. Let me try again, plus a little bonus material. And I think that's what happened with number 2 on the Terrifier because, dude, the runtime on Terrifier 1 is like acceptable. It's like an hour and a half. I think it's like 80 minutes, which is like 120, 130, all right? It's like right in the hour and a half, which is like perfect horror runtime, dude. Hour and a half. Get in, get out. Don't ask too many questions, dude. Just get in, get out. Hour and a half. Keep the momentum flowing. So it's like, okay, even when I was watching, I was like, no matter how bad this movie is, it's an hour and a half. I can do this. And then I look at number 2. And then I look at number 2, dude. 2 hours and 20 minutes, dude. 2 hours plus for Terrifier 2. And it's like, are you kidding me, dude? Are you out of your mind? Who makes a 2+ hour movie, a horror movie, oh man, on their second to bat 2 with Terrifier 2, not even 2 or close to 2, over 2, dude? So I already know for a fact, dude, before I've even seen a single frame of that film that either A, it's going to have a bunch of filler and boring and slow parts, or B, it's going to be overloaded with insane gore porn, dude. It's going to be overloaded with insane gore for gratuitously too long, which is the other part of what makes me sort of uninterested in Terrifier. It's reminiscent of sort of what became of the Saw franchise. It's the Saw franchise was relatively solid up until 3. Up until 3, it's yeah, it is intertwined with insane horror and gore. Torture, gore, crazy devices, yes, but still also intertwined in that is a pretty interesting story, or at least a relatively comprehensible story, one that can be followed with twists and turns, and it's a fun ride. After 3, I can't speak to it because it kind of goes down the spiral of Jigsaw, dude. I think that's one of the names of the movie is the Spiral. Because that franchise spirals out of control, dude. So after 3, it becomes this insane. The stories are either out of their minds, make no sense, and it's just a vessel for more extreme gore porn, right? The Saw movies just become less about the stories, less about the cool twist, less about the and more about just the and so I feel that's what Terrifier is going to be, dude. I feel Terrifier is not going to be an interesting story. I feel Terrifier is not going to have a insane at the end. Turns out I'm Jigsaw the whole time. This mime action. That's the other thing, too, where I'm okay, I will begrudgingly applaud your miming, sir. It's quite good. And it is kind of... How do I explain? It is kind of fun because it is he's being kind of scary and always doing that thing with blood all in his mouth just all the time. But then he's also being kind of silly sometimes, which makes it like kind of funny. Like there's a part where he's like getting kicked out of the restaurant. Get the hell out of here! And he's just like, just being like super over the top with his expressions. It reminds me of Us. You see, Us, the Jordan Peele. There was like a moment in Us where I was dying, dude. I was dying from laughter. It was such an amazing scene. Tim Heidecker, dude, from Tim and Eric fame. Tim Heidecker, first of all, is probably one of the coolest guys ever, dude. Tim Heidecker is amazing, dude. Some of the stuff he's done, he did a whole, I still have yet to finish it, but it is unbelievable. He did like a whole fake court. Like you can watch the court video, you know what I mean? Like when they have the cameras in the courtroom, like he does like a whole trial about when like he ran some guy over or something like that. Like it's like a comedy thing, but it's like a multi-day trial that you can watch, like an Adult Swim thing. Just that whole like weird Adult Swim reality, but not really kind of vibe. Tim Heidecker is unbelievable. And then when he popped up in Us, I was just like, oh, Tim Heidecker, yeah. And then when he pops up in Us as like the evil Tim Heidecker, there's a moment where like the family or the guy is like hiding on a boat or something, and the way that Tim Heidecker just like jumps on there and he's like pretending to not know, he's just like, huh? Like, but still as like a weird monster, dude. It was unbelievable, dude, to be like acting like sarcastically like searching for this dude like while you're a murderer. It was just such an odd. If that was whoever's decision that was to play it that way, amazing. That was a real highlight of that movie, being like, oh my god, this is legit hilarious. This is so. What an amazing scene. What an amazing actor. What an amazing creative mind, Tim Heidecker. But, to bring it back to the Terrifier. So, yeah, there are like, okay, your miming is on point, sir. I will say that. Your miming action that's the only thing I can do is the rope. And then, like, sort of the glass box, I guess. Not even good at it. But, so we've got Terrifier 3 to look forward to. I'm sure it'll be a 3-hour fucking movie since that's the pace they're going from like hour and a half, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. 3 hours of just, 3 hours of just gratuitous, crazy over the top gore. That was just like the big selling thing is like people are passing out in the theater. People are vomiting uncontrollably. And it's like, yeah, those aren't selling points to me, dude. That's not something where I'm like, ooh, can't wait to see it now. Because it's just like, it's not even about real horror to me is like, I don't know, man, more story related. If you can scare the hell out of me without showing someone's face getting like ripped off, to me, that's more impressive than the face ripping off, you know what I mean? But that's just me. That's just this guy. But, yeah, Terrifier. I saw Five Nights, too. Is that something you're interested in? Five Nights at Freddy? Who else saw Five Nights at Freddy's? Every young adult ever, all these teens and early 20s. As someone who's never played the game, I could tell there was a good amount of stuff that was going over my head. Lots of references or, moments from the game, I'm guessing, that just like completely over my head, dude. Like there's a lot of stuff where people are like, oh my God, hold on. Oh my, they put that in there. Oh my gosh, they got it. Oh, that's great. And I'm just like, I don't know. Never played it. But I understand the concept, security guard at a Chuck E. Cheese, haunted Chuck E. Cheese, haunted, possessed animatronic Chuck E. Cheese. So it's like a cool idea. It's an interesting idea to think about, Chuck E. Cheese running amok and murdering people. But it's also long, dude. It's also like just over 2 hours, which is like, what is with these long movies, dude? Who keeps greenlighting the idea to make it like, you know what? Let's stretch it. Let's Killers of the Flower Moon this bitch. Let's make it a 4-hour experience, no intermission. But I don't know, dude, especially when you're talking like horror or comedy, dude, stop going over the 2-hour mark, dude. Nobody can sustain that level of engagement for like over 2 hours. Especially not in our modern era. But dude, 145, even like 150, dude, it makes a hell of a difference rather than going over 2. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be stuff that should have been left on the cutting room floor. There's gonna be stuff that's like, this is boring, dude. It's long. They try to do like a, little backstory on the main guy, which is like interesting at first, he's got like a past. His brother was abducted. It is interesting, but then it becomes like less about Chuck E. Cheese or, Five Nights or whatever, Freddenberg, I forget what the hell it's called. It becomes less about that and more about just this dude, which is like, okay, that's cool, but also it's called Five Nights at Freddy's, it should be mostly focused on that, right? Also, PG-13, which, as far as horror goes, not the best bet, but that's not to say that it's impossible, right? We talking Signs? We talking like the most famous PG-13 movie that comes to mind as being like PG-13, but also destroying me? PG-13, but also scarier than most R-rated movies I've seen, at the time at least. So it's like, it's not impossible. It's not impossible to do PG-13 and still have a solid, scary film. Unfortunately, when you have... I think the main thing about Freddy's is that it is pretty horror. It is pretty, see, again, it's hard to say because I haven't played, but the vibe seems to be murder. The vibe seems to be people be dying. Even in the movie... as hardcore as it gets in the movie, because it's PG-13, is just someone's hand up on the glass with blood. Ugh. Oh no, he's dead. Or someone's shadow on the wall getting whoa, so you don't see them, you see the shadow. Or I think there's a girl who gets cut in half. So you see her shadow get cut in half. And it's okay, this... When you have such gruesome, murdery elements, you can only hide it for so long before it's just not working. You know what I mean? I need to see the violence at a certain point to get scared of it. And then also they kind of do this interesting back and forth because it's yeah, they're kids. You know what I mean? They're technically the ghost of children, who also seem to be completely fine murdering. So it's It's also it's weird because it's okay, so they're kids. They're so much kids, they still have so much of their childhoodness in them that they're literally building forts, dude. They're making a tent fort out of all the furniture in the restaurant. You know what I mean? So you're that much of a kid, but also... you're murdering. You're that much of a kid, but also you're just biting women, too. You're biting this lady in half, who arguably dies the worst, who, almost does nothing. She's the lookout. She comes in at the last minute hey, is everything okay? Oh, and, dies horrifically. And it's ugh. Hard to be on these kids' side, hard to be really sympathetic to these victims who just keep on murdering. Now, albeit, the people they murdered were kind of roughing up the joint a bit. They were kind of making a mess. But does that necessarily, does that call for gruesome murder? Evidently it does. And then also there's a big twist at the end. But is there really? At the end, it's like, oh, he's the killer? What? And it's like, yeah, he's literally the only other character that's been introduced in this movie. There's 3 people in this movie. He's one of them, so there's a good chance he's gonna be the murderer. And then also, like, could you make it any more obvious at the beginning? He's just like, I don't know, the previous owner really loved that place. And it's like, okay, well, it's definitely that guy, right? Like, he's definitely the owner. But it was cool to see, the dude from Scream. It's always fun seeing famous horror people popping up in other horror films. But overall, Freddy, overall, not that good, At least to me, I don't know if you've seen the previous Halloween episode. We can throw a link up there if you haven't, because it's a good one. The Gringo Guapo. That's where I got this headband from my Average Joe's outfit. That was my Halloween costume of choice this year. Went with it because it was like relatively one of the cheaper options. Pretty legit shirt, shorts, like the gold color, pretty cool. And then comes with this like legit headband, sweatband, and also like 2 wristbands that I don't have on, but I still have them. So it's like, dang, I did the costume and I did these like sweet sweatbands that I can just continue using all throughout the year, not Halloween exclusive. So it's like cha-ching. And it was interesting too wearing the costume, because it's like got a lot of different reactions from people. Lots of people, yeah, dodgeball, woo! Or lots of you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. There is a line in that movie that what's that thing where it's like, what's the thing that lives rent-free in your head all the time? And it's that scene, dude. Anytime I hear the word necessary, like, this is no joke at all. Like, literally anytime I hear the word necessary, my mind flashes back. What is his name in the movie? Like, Patty O'Coulihan or something like that? The guy that's, like, showing them the ropes. He says something, and they're like, Patty, is that really necessary? And he's like, necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? And they're like, and he's like, no, but I do it anyway. No, but it's sterile. No, but I do it anyway because it's sterile and I like the taste. Anytime I hear the word necessary, dude, necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? No, but I do it anyway because it's sterile and I like the taste. Whatever that actor, I can't think of who it is. Patty O'Coulihan. Let's see. Oh, and that was the other thing too about dodgeball was, so like I was saying, getting lots of dodgeball, dodge a wrench, dodge a ball. But then it started throwing me off. Rip Torn, Patches O'Houlihan. Rip Torn is very cool. But then it started getting a little bit interesting because I had a few people like, what are you, like a basketball player or like just like a sports guy, or what are you supposed to be? And I'm like, no, you never seen a dodgeball? I'm like, no, never seen dodgeball. And I'm just like, oh, well, it is like a pretty old movie, I guess. What was that like, that feels like a 2010 kind of movie. That feels like a 2015, 2014 kind of movie, right? I can understand you not seeing it. It came out like 10 years ago or whatever. And then I looked it up. 2004, dude. 2004. I was like 13 when that movie came out, dude. I was like, oh my God. Had no idea that movie suddenly was about to celebrate its 20th anniversary, dude. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. Ben Stiller is like all gray and wrinkled now. Oh, wait a minute. Even like Justin Long is starting to get like wrinkly and kind of gray looking. Oh, wait a minute. Vince Vaughn. Oh, no. Just like the more I think about it, I'm just like, oh no. Oh, wait a minute. They just keep getting older. I just keep getting older. Nah. But Dodgeball is like all time, dude. You haven't seen Dodgeball, get on it because it's a classic. And now that I think about it, it's been even longer since I've seen it. I can't really recall the last time. But, it's just a trip sometimes how time keeps on slipping into the future. But what else is new? What have you guys been watching? I finally finished Fall of the House of Usher. It was okay. The finale was okay. There's other episodes before that are so unbelievably good that it's like, understandable that the finale will be kind of like lackluster. Still good. Still highly recommend Fall of the House of Usher, even though it is so much more enjoyable during the spooky season, but, it's still good. But have been watching... Yes, I know this is kind of late to the game here, but something I never really got a chance to talk about, and that's the canceling of that Lakers show. Hey, HBO Max, or I don't know what to call. Hey, HBO, or hey, Max, what you doing? Hey, Max, what you doing over there, dude? How are you gonna cancel that Lakers show, dude? That Lakers show was a banger, dude. And then the way that they canceled it was so, oh man, what a slap to my face. And then the more I looked into it, I was just like, oh, this was like more kind of problematic than I could have ever imagined. So first of all, it had the effect of causing a huge ripple between Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, which that was something I learned much later, because evidently Will Ferrell was like pretty assured that he would be in the role that John C. Reilly is as what is his name? The owner of the Lakers? I can't remember, but Jerry Buss? I don't know, whatever. But apparently it was like supposed to go to Will Ferrell, or that was like the implication, like that was what Will Ferrell thought. So when it went to John C. When it went to John C. Reilly, I guess there was a little bit of a tiff there, a little bit of a not gonna be your friend no more kind of thing, which is like a bummer. But then also, like John C. Reilly kills it in that show, dude. John C. Reilly is a force in that show, dude. He is so good, and I've tried to sit there and imagine Will Ferrell. I've tried to sit there and really picture Will Ferrell. But I don't know, dude. John C. Reilly does such a good job in this show that like it is hard to imagine anyone else, even someone as great as Will Ferrell. And it's a bit of a bummer to think about Will Ferrell fighting with Adam McKay or John C. Reilly. Like that's supposed to be the trio. That's supposed to be the Trinity, dude. Ferrell, Reilly, McKay. That is a great combo that should never have anything come between it, dude. What is going on with the Ultimate Trio? But it was a great show, dude. I mean, just the whole like dramatic storyline of like that run of the Lakers versus like the Celtics, Magic versus Bird, unbelievable true life. Like if you ever watch that Magic Bird doc or whatever, unbelievable documentary. And all throughout season 1, they're just like peppering. They're just like taking their time with like the whole AIDS thing. They so briefly, just like a little whisper of a hint, like, oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. And then they start peppering in Larry Bird. Season 1 is just like little seasonings. Like, don't worry, we're gonna get there. We're just gonna season it nice and slow, but we'll get there. And I dug it, dude. I was like, oh, you are rolling this dramatic series out slowly, and I'm all for it, dude. I am all for it. That's how good that show was. Is it like I didn't even mind that they were really taking their time, dude. So then season 2, it's like the same thing. It's just like, just like a little sprinkle, just a little whisper of the rivalry. The little whisper, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. The rivalry's coming. The rivalry's coming. And it's like, dude, this is great. You're doing a great job at this. And then, dude, the way that season ends, it just like, shit, and we're done. It's just like little seasonings. Little teas, like, oh, we're building to it. And we're done. And it's just like, what? What was with all the slow seasoning? And now we're just done? Like, I barely was getting the flavor. The way that they do, I remember watching it being like, what is happening right now? Like, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. And I remember looking like, no, wait a minute. No, it's canceled. No. Because it's just like, the episode ends, and it's just like, basically just like text. Just text on the screen about just like, well, you know, Jerry Buss went on to do this and that. And I'm like, what? And then it's just like, Magic Johnson, he had a heck of a rivalry with Larry Bird. Boy, it would have been fun to watch, but, you know, go watch a documentary or something. We're not going to show you. And I'm like, what? As it's going, it's just like, wait, you're cutting all these storylines. What? You're wrapping everything up? What? So out of nowhere, so abrupt, so just fucking, we are done. And I'm just like, oh no, dude, what? And then to like add to the like, huh? To add to the, huh? Is it like on the same stupid platform, Mats? They are going bananas promoting their Doom Patrol, dude. Doom Patrol, you know what I mean? Which is on like its 4th season. So it's like, okay, Mats, what are we doing here, dude? What are we doing? You had the Laker show, which is like, it was also a critical success, dude. It was like unanimously, like all critics kind of agreed, this is a good show. Dude, and then I looked, I was like, okay, goddamn, you are promoting the hell out of Doom Patrol. You're promoting the hell out of the 4th season of Doom Patrol. So same thing with the Terrifier, there has to be something here, right? Is it Brendan Fraser? Is that what's so good about this show? What is it in the show that is so good? Because I've seen it, dude. I've seen Doom Patrol, and obviously I didn't like it because I quit on it. I can't remember anything about that show other than it being very subpar. It was very in the same ballpark as that Titan show. Matt has like 4 different shows where they're like trying to do like a hard, gritty DC kind of thing with like Titans and like it's just not good, you know what I mean? And then Doom Patrol, it's just like, I don't know, maybe the DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's just like these weird, unique, funky, never really heard of before superheroes, kinda. So I was like, all right, Doom Patrol, okay. You canceled the Lakers, but Doom Patrol going strong. So what is it with Doom Patrol? Let me see. Where did I leave off on Doom Patrol? Did I quit after season 1? Where was the point when I gave up in the past? So I look back, season 1, episode 3. I got like a quarter through episode 3 before I threw in the towel. I might go back just because it's like I said, there has to be something there, dude. Why are you going so hard on Doom Patrol? But Winning Time, the Laker thing, you're just like, nah. I don't think it was as simple as that. I did read a lot about I guess a lot of people had a problem. I guess Magic Johnson had a problem. I guess Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a problem. I guess Jerry West had a problem. Like a big problem, I guess. Like they were saying like, yo, this is crazy inaccurate. This is like borderline, what's the word I'm looking for? Plagiarism? Not really. Just like complete dramatization, like completely untrue, like completely not us. Especially, I think the most noise was coming from Jerry West, who in the show is like depicted as like an asshole. You know what I mean? Like a real dick. Good, basketball team building coach, whatever his job is, but dick, And I guess like in real life, he's like, hey, why are you making me look like a huge dick on this Matt's HBO show? And they're like, Jerry, I hate to break it to you, but you're a dick, dude. Like, you're just an asshole in real life. So I'm sorry that you on screen is also kind of an asshole. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Be a better person, I guess. I guess he was like, dude, that is not me on the show. You guys made me look like a total jerk. And I think everyone's like, yeah, Jerry, you're like kind of a jerk, dude. Like, hello. I think HBO actually had like a really good statement that I read where they're like, hey, like, although it is drama, although it is dramatized, we fact check, dude. We here at HBO, we checked the story before, like, yeah, maybe we'll spice it up a little bit. But at the foundation, we're HBO, dude. And we're going to bring you, like, at least the foundational truth. To me, the vibe is, like, there's no way that, like, you just randomly made a character so over-the-top dickhead, you know what I mean? If he's not, in some reality, a dick, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they turned it up from, like, 8 to 10, but still, in your normal day-to-day life, you're still an 8 on the dickometer, you know what I mean? Still, as a whole, very disappointing to see that show go, especially in such a just, and that is it kind of way. I remember being, like, really bummed out on that one. And then, I don't know, you want to talk about Planet of the Apes? You want to talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the newest sequel, long-awaited 4th sequel to Planet of the... Dang, you know what? It's been so long since I've seen these ones. I don't even remember when these came out. I don't even remember the names of them other than... I think the first one is like Rise. Planet of the Apes. Many years, many years after the reign. After the reign of Caesar. All right, so it's taking place like in the future, way after the whole Caesar thing. Here we go. Okay, so it's Rise in 2011, Dawn in 2014, and then War 2017. 2017? That's like 7 years ago. So 7 years ago from the last one, now we have our new one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And it looks like we might be finally approaching our Charleston Heston timeline in this movie. It looks like we might be approaching Dr. Zaius on the timeline here as far as Planet of the Apes goes. We might finally have a time-traveling Charleston Heston in this one. You maniacs! You blew it all up! Yeah, I don't really remember the other ones that much, other than it just being Andy Serkis, right? That was like the height, the peak of Andy Serkis, the peak of people caring about motion capture. That was a real moment there, and nobody does it like Andy Serkis. Great motion capture, and then great, very impressive with his, chimp movements and chimp action. Really great performance. Unfortunately, I cannot remember a whole lot of that movie other than just like, apes together strong. in this new trailer, it seems like we are well past, broken speech or just like, Caesar, hunt, Caesar, no like human. Now they're just like, hey, what's up? Planet of the Apes, we're here. Just talking normally. And then there is a dude that walks on looking very Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius. Dude, that is like another, you want to talk about brain burn, dude. That will forever be in my brain. One of the greatest Simpsons moments ever, dude, is when they're doing the Planet of the Apes musical. And Dr. Zaius. And they do like the Amadeus thing. Oh, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius. So awesome. I can't even remember, like, I know I've seen OG, Charleston Heston, Planet of the Apes, but that was so long ago. And I've also seen, now it's basically considered OG as well. OG, Tim Burton, the Marky Mark version, dude, the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes. The Tim Roth, dude, man, talked about disappearing entirely. Dude, Michael Clark Duncan, dude. If you want to make Michael Clark Duncan look even more intimidating than he already does, give him like insane, like those big freaking fangs that he had, dude. Say what you will about that movie. I remember it being, not that good. I remember it being kind of weird and not that great. But I also remember it being some of the most unbelievable makeup I have ever seen in my life, dude. Tim Roth disappears, dude. He is such a crazy, angry chimp general, dude. He is oh man, I know there's parts where he gets like really close on people and he's just like, oh, it's great. Michael Clark Duncan looks insane. What's her name, dude? Tim Burton's wife, the one that's in every single movie. I can't think of her name. The crazy lady in Harry Potter, Beatrice, can't remember something. I can't remember. She's a great actress, and she also looks unbelievable. Everyone looks amazing in that film. Unbelievable makeup and effects on those people in that movie. Having said that, don't remember it being a good movie, Mark Wahlberg, But overall, really good makeup and stuff. I guess I'll see this new. I guess I'll have to go back and watch the old. I remember it having, like, James Franco in the first one. Gary Oldman's in there somewhere. I can't remember nothing, dude. I don't remember anything from those movies. But this has been fun. This has been a good one. I can't believe we made it this far. Thank you so much for tuning in. We can go ahead and wrap it and tap it there. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It's much appreciated. And if you subscribe here on YouTube, be sure to also subscribe on Spotify or iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts at. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time on the pod.